cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife, leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sim Racers World TV for round 9 of the Sunday GT3 World League, sponsored by SimracerCoin. My name is Hasse Rømer. I'm joined in the booth by the knowledgeable man they call Peter MacKay, ranging from the north of Scotland. I don't know if it's from the north of Scotland or just Scotland. Scotland is a northerly country, just like my own, just like many of those in Europe. And I'm getting sidetracked here because we're at Oulton Park for my maiden commentary here. And now Peter's excited. I am as well. And I think we're in for a blast. How you feeling, Peter?
I am delighted to be back with my fellow Viking, Hasse. Yeah, I think we're both Northerners at heart, aren't we? Yeah. So, and we're here in the north of England. In fact, we're in Chaz Draycott country. Actually, this is his local track. So, thankfully, he's not been laser scanned into this for the rest of time. So we're got a Chaz Draycott free night tonight. But it's going to be great fun. GT3 cars, when you get them up to pace and on this Oulton Park circuit, the sensation of driving around here is fantastic. Brilliant undulation and some really tricky corners. It's going to be an interesting evening for sure.
Indeed it is, and we've got a close running in the championship, spreading out ever so slightly at the last round, because so I'll go through it shortly. The standings are not as close as they were. It's settling in, at least in the lead battle. We've got some very close running in the positions to follow. We'll have a look at that in a short moment's time. On to trackside pictures, I was about to say, as our colleague Jack Werrell and the Ford GTs resting in the pit booth. And he'll be trying to smash it tonight. Currently in practice in 11th place. And let's see how he gets along in the race. A courageable choice indeed by Jack Werrell. A warm welcome to everyone joining in on Facebook, on Twitch, and of course on YouTube as well, here on Sim Racers World. And I think we're in, as I said, for a really good bit of action. The times we've seen in practice, while not being bad at all, and I was setting in a couple of laps earlier myself, and I could hardly just get into the 38. Mind you, I'm not familiar with the track at all. It's my maiden commentary gig here, so but I got all the more excited, and we spoke about it before the race as well. Peter, this is one of the last really old school tracks to still be in use around.
Absolutely, it is. It's the first race was all the way back in 1953. So yes, it is one of the historic tracks here. And the first international race was in 1954 with the Gold Cup, which has always been a big part of the racing fair here at Oulton Park. And in fact, this was the place where the only ever four-wheel drive Formula One car won a Grand Prix in the hands of Stirling Moss in a Ferguson.
Oh, that's interesting stuff. And I'm thinking, Ferguson, is that the same Ferguson known for tractor? Well, it probably isn't.
I have a feeling it is, yes. I have a feeling. Did you know also that, do you know what the DB in Aston, you know how you get an Aston Martin DB9 or DB11 or whatever it is now? You know what the DB stands for? I
have no clue. Peter, enlighten me.
David Brown. And David Brown made tractors before he made quite exotic road cars.
And I think Porsche's built plenty of tractor as well in the olden days, and I think Ferruccio Lamborghini has built a tractor or two as well in his day. So funny to see how there seems to be a connection between building the slowest cars and the fastest cars, if you will. Some Mercedes is parked in the chicane there, and Eric Verley finds his going sideways, but manages to keep it on point. The narrowness of this track in its in a certain few places is going to make for some very, very interesting stuff tonight. It's going to be tricky, to say the least, for the cars to really go toe-to-toe here. But they're going to have to do it, and we're going to be seeing it. And I think we're going to be enjoying the spectacle that is going to be giving us big time indeed. We're going to hop on board here with Eric Verley and just let Peter MacKay take us on a guided lap here of Oulton Park.
Oh, it will be my pleasure. Down we come into Old Hall Corner then. You've got a big bump on the inside there. You've got to keep it nice and steady. Heading down the avenue towards Cascades. A brilliant corner here. Left-hander, you see there Eric fighting the understeer of this Mercedes. Back on the power of this big 6.2 litre monster built by AMG in Alfterbach. Through we go now, down towards Island Bend, through Island Bend and towards Shell Oils, the wonderfully cambered Shell Oils, down to oh, interesting. Eric leaves it in second gear, smooths it out. Now we go down towards Britain's chicane, named after John Britton, who made the incredible Britain V1000 motorcycle theme staying on. as we head up over Hilltop down towards Hislop's, named after the late great Steve Hislop, triple British champion, 11-time TT winner, and he was a 9-time winner at Oulton Park. Through we go then, up Knickerbrook, up Clay Hill, really on the power hard now, up this blind crest. You're thinking, where is the apex, where is it? Oh, I don't know. Down we go then towards the water tower and Druid's very, very tricky corner here. On the power hard, Eric Verley making this look easy, but I can tell you it is not. Into Lodge Corner for the final time. Round we go, nice and steady, back on the power through this big old dip, through Deer Leap and over the line. And that is a lap of one of the greatest racing circuits anywhere in the world.
It's certainly a flyer, an interesting lap. As you can see, the drivers are going to have their work cut out for a big time indeed. And as I said, my predictions, I will stand by that. No matter what happens, I think we're in for a treat here tonight. Pete Plastow's back. Such a pleasure to see Pete back for Virtual Racing Compound. Mind you, Pete Plastow has been very much on top of things, except for missing a round or two, and that's kind of put him out in the championship battle. Big shame here, but certainly have shown the pace here in practice. Almost a whole second up on Koen Mulder, and the only driver to go into the 33s. Virtual Racing Compound joins us in chat, and what a pleasure. And hello to you, Jack, as well. Nice to have you along. Clint Mullins, and I think we have a couple of Argentine supporters for, I was just about to say, a batch of Argentine drivers that have joined us and joined the league here during the week, which quite interestingly, Peter, brings the total tally of Argentine drivers in this league, to 6.
Fantastic. Well, of course, for me, the greatest racing driver of all time, Juan Manuel Fangio, came from Argentina. So brilliant to have such a great representation. And of course, this certainly what's coming up on my feed here, Sebastian Scandalera in a wonderfully patriotic colour scheme on his Mercedes with that white and blue stripe with, I think that is a Michael Schumacher helmet replica he has on as well.
Not bad as well. And speaking of Michael Schumacher, I do fondly remember the 1997 Formula One season and all the battles and intrigue that came along with it. But they used to have a Formula One Grand Prix in Argentina as well, and I think a lot of the drivers weren't too fond about the track necessarily. It was known as a bumpy place and a difficult place as well to get around, but I'm sure it would be interesting to see modern F1 cars throw it around there, although suspension and all might not just really allow for it. And I was trying to remember the name of the track, but I actually don't.
There's actually MotoGP go there, or they haven't gone this year, obviously, but they've it's now a regular fixture on the MotoGP calendar. There's a circuit in a place called Termas del Rio Hondo, and actually there's fans come from all over Latin America to go to the circuit, and it's an incredible atmosphere. The riders really enjoy it, and that track, well, if it can do MotoGP, it could do Formula One.
That's a very good point here. Trick gets...
No, he's binned it now. Of course, it's been a few rounds since I've been joining you here, Hasse. And Tricarici, he's swapped the BMW for the Audi.
Yeah, I thought that's an interesting choice as well. We've seen the Audi be quick on certain tracks, I think especially. And I'm afraid of Tricarici taking a little too much of the inside curb. And as such, we have now... found the end of our practice session here tonight, and thus we have a throng of cars, I want to say, heading onto the track. I've rarely seen anything as chaotic as this, and the few drivers that are holding back for a second or two, I think they are thinking, why is everyone in such a rush to basically join what looks mostly like rush hour traffic? And it's certainly not going to make for any quick qualifying times here. We'll wait a little bit with the qualifying display. It makes better sense to bring it up later in the session. But we've got 20 minutes of qualifying at hand. And let's see just which car as well is going to get out on top. Is already one of the next level racing Audi spins. Oh, and I think that's Elroy Timmer. Elroy Timmer, Peter, who joined us at the latter part of the season here, has been a dominating force so far. He's won, I think, every race there's pretty much been to win so far for him. And really shown some pace. And I checked out something very interesting as well. We'll go back to live pictures quickly. We've heard much ado about iRatings and such, and how iRatings is, oh, how can you see these drivers with less than 1,000 iRating and such. But you know, Valdir Suarez, who's been leading this championship for so long and one of the most consistent drivers in this league in general, has an iRating of 900, and I suspect it's because Valdir is more of a league racing guy than maybe a official competitive iRacing guy, and that means you won't really see too much change to your iRating, even though you do quite a lot of racing, and I think he would quickly move up through the ranks did he do some more official races. And he's battling drivers that are well up there. I checked it out just when joining here. Pete Plastow has an iRating of 2200, and that seems to be a lot more realistic of the pace at the front of this league indeed. So
seems so. Yeah, it seems so that it's very much, you know, if you're doing a lot of official races, and it can also depend on the type of races you do as well. And if you specialize in one particular car, you can always do quite well also. So, but this is getting very busy, and as you rightly said earlier on, Hasse, none of those drivers are able. We've got Valdir Suarez Jr. and there, Jack Wirral at the back in the big Ford, and yeah, none of these guys are really getting their ideal qualifying pace right now. Is Jack? He's doing a bit of race practice here into the Hislop chicane, goes for a big lunge, thinks about it, and then decides against it. Oh, BMW is slow there at Knickerbrook.
Knickerbrook, which I read today, this is not that incident, this is Gaston Bora and the Marlboro Ferrari just plain old losing the rear, getting twitchy on him, and he keeps it alive. Well done by him. But Knickerbrook, when they were demolishing some ground off to make way for the track there, when they were blowing up stuff, they all of a sudden, legend has it, and I think this is a true story actually, but legend has it that they saw a young couple fleeing in wild confusion, and perhaps they were scared as shit as well. I'm sorry, pardon my French. I do apologize for that, but I think they were properly scared indeed, we can safely say. And when they cleared off the place afterwards, they found a pair of knickers, and thus the name. Peter, were you aware of that?
I did not know that story. No, that's a good one. I like that one. We also have Knickerbocker Glory, which is a type of ice cream, like a dessert. And yeah, I mean, well, so maybe we can have Knickerbrook Glory if someone goes for an overtaking maneuver there, possibly. I mean, you can just about fit it up the inside there, but it would be brave. But coming down towards the Hislop chicane, and I tell you what, if you, oh dear, if you run the layout without this chicane, which is now a permanent fixture at Oulton Park, but if you go in and don't use that, the speed that you carry through is absolutely amazing. It's EJ Fulner having a, oh dear, that's a very slow but quite firm accident there.
So times are coming in here early days in qualifying, 5 minutes into this 20-minute session, and Koen Mulder, and well, I think he might have had, what was that lap before? Why is it saying his quickest lap is now a 36.3? That hardly makes any sense to me. Might be, oh, that might be why. Might he have been off track? No, it wouldn't count as time. But his time was there anyway. Simon van Dijk now first to go into the 34s. And as you do, after a good lap, you tend to ruin the next one. He gets loose and squiddly there on the exit of turn 1. Drew Williams up here in the Audi as well. I reckon it's the first time We're seeing Drew Williams at the spicy end of the grid here in qualifying. I did a few laps, by the way, in the Audi, and while the baseline setup did feel very wonky if you didn't just brake in a straight line. Oh, just a minute. Someone's just connected to my USB speakers. I will be right back.
Okay, so while Hasse deals with this little bit of technical issues at home, we're 6 minutes into the 20-minute session. Now, if you're watching the Audi here of Drew Williams, this Audi V10, it has some pluses and some minuses. It's got quite a short wheelbase, and with the engine being in the middle, it's quite good on the change of direction, but it's pretty pitchy. So if you take liberties with it, it will bite. The BMW is a little bit more of a more solid package with the front engine, also the Mercedes as well. But if you can handle the Audi, it is a good package as well. But I have to say my favorite is this car on screen right here. No, not that one, the BMW. But anyway, let's see what happened to the. Oh, get off the racing line! No, go well done. AJ Fulner having a bit of a handful here in qualifying.
Yeah, indeed. I'm sorry about that quick running intermezzo for me. I have a set of relatively old Bluetooth speakers, but they somehow seem to be strong in their signals. They have the force with them, if you will. And once in a while I get neighbors. I don't know if it's incidental or if it's someone trying to play a kind of a funny joke. Hop onto my speakers and play something. But as you can probably guess, now is a pretty bad time for that. So I had to turn them off real quick. So back from that, they say be prepared. And prepared you have to be to take unprepared action, I guess, in the end. But anywho, qualifying still going. Now we're 8 minutes in, and Elroy Timmer's at the top of things. No surprises here.
Yep, the number 26 for Next Level Racing Netherlands. Doing a cracking job at the moment. Oh, as Koen Mulder lays in a fast time there. 133.6 for Koen. That's absolutely superb. And thankfully we have, this is the great thing about GT3 cars is, on their windshield, you'll see a little LED kind of light strip. There it is on the top left there as we look at it, or as Koen Mulder looks at it, top right, where it says the position in the race. So at the moment, Koen Mulder has got the one you want, 0-1. First place for the Flying Dutchman. I've actually got a friend called Dennis Mulder, actually, Hasse, who is, he has a Lotus Elise.
Oh.
So he goes to track days with it. So it's Mulder is there you go. There's quite a few fast Mulders in the Netherlands, obviously.
I had a bit of beautiful memories with the Lotus Elise as well. I had an uncle who used to do road tests for a kind of a Danish men's magazine who also had a car section. So once he just unannounced picked me up from school in a Lotus Elise, and we went out for an hour or two. And I still fondly remember the day. I must have been 6 or 7 years old. So it's a few years down the road by now, but it was a grand experience nonetheless. And you were just speaking of championships, or not championships, but of leading persons and people, and mentioning Koen Mulder in there. And I think this is the perfect segue to go into the championship standings, because this very driver on our provisional pole position, Koen Mulder, is also our championship leader. He leads by 20 points to Eric Verley, who's now up into second. Eric Verley, who's been so consistent this season. He's had two races off just in the lower end of the points, but it's been very consistent for Eric. Besides to that, Valdez Suarez down in third place. So the driver who's been leading the championship standings for so long now, no longer on top. And then Alfredo Tricarici fourth on pure consistency as well. He's lacked that final bit of pace to be up there, but he's always been there or thereabouts and picked up points at every single location. Peter Plastow, I mentioned Pete Plastow's missed out on 2 rounds. It's actually been 3 drop rounds for Pete Plastow. I think I remember him saying something that was due to a change of scheduling in his work flow that didn't allow him to compete, which is a grand shame indeed, because Peter Plastow, still with 115 points, we would only imagine how the championship would look had he been there to pick up about 24 points on average a season. He'd be a strong contender for the championship win. Chris Roberts, welcome to you. Same goes to Dirk Brinksma as well. And everyone else who's joined us in the minutes that we've been doing qualifying session here. And of course, throughout the final minutes of practice as well as we went live. Koen Mulder still sits at the top of things. And here is Nils Teesters in Peter's favorite car, BMW Z4.
Yeah, the 2014 United Tudor Sports Car Championship GTD winning car, and oh, this is just sweet music. This wonderful flat crank V8, naturally aspirated. You just hear it rattle up the gears. Here we go. Neil Teester's going to take us around Oulton Park. And as you just hang on around here, the car is so stable. It's almost like it has four-wheel drive. It's just so... It's almost like driving a Scalextric's car. It's got such good traction, so easy to drive, a brilliant endurance racing car. It's a very popular car for teams in the 24-hour races because, well, it's so hard to get it out of shape.
And that is, as anyone who's ever tried their luck at GT3 endurance racing, especially in iRacing, they will know that stability is a key component. You can have pace, but it's hard to have outright pace for 24 hours if you have a skittish car to deal with. And I can tell you that firsthand. We did the 24 hours of Spa in the McLaren MP4-12C. And while my two teammates had put in very, very good stints over the opening, 4 hours of the race, I was getting in the car. I was a little nervous. I was actually very nervous. And the characteristics of the car and the setup just was so that if you lifted too much through Blanchiment, the car would just spit off the rear end. And that's a kind of nervous thing to do. And as fate would have it, 20 minutes into my stint, lost the rear end Blanchiment, and I died a tragic death indeed in that race, and so did we, and we were pretty much out of it from there. Could have been podium places. So let's just say that I'm at a place where the next GT3 endurance race I think is going to be in the BMW.
That would be a wise call, yeah, to take the Munich missile. And there's the thing I like about the BMW as well is you've got some fantastic throwback liveries to choose from as well, which is very important. As well as we see Martin de Jong coming out of pit lane in the SimracerCoin sponsored machine. Now, he's got a little bit of damage on there on the front right of that car. So I wonder what's happened to him during qualifying. Maybe a bit of an off.
That's a good question. It's a bit of a surprise to see that it didn't get fixed in the pits. He's actually got a substantial amount of damage there on his right-hand side, at the front and side of the car. Seems he's had some kind of scrapey contact with something. Here's Stephen Orrell, very much up there as well, the Brit, who I suspect that some of the Brits here on the grid at least will be a little more familiar with this track than most of the rest of the grid there, but Stephen Orr has a scary moment indeed, and almost finds a not so comfortable place of the track to meet, which is of course the walls. And there's something about the British racing scene and the British racing culture. Peter, you probably know a great deal about it, being I was just about to say being British, but that of course would offend. Well, that would offend a Scotsman or two, but being Scottish. Anyway, that's besides the point. The point being that there's quite a lot of circuits in the United Kingdom, and it's sometimes a little hard to keep track of all of them. Oh, is that the Audi of Elroy Timmer? I think it is. Yes, it is. And he's met the wall as well there. That kind of cut into a question I made there, but transition over to it anyways, Peter.
Yeah, it's we were very lucky that in the as Elroy Timmer, he was pushing there, just a small mistake, tiny bit of tire onto the grass, and round he went. But yeah, you're right, Hasse. We're absolutely blessed in the United Kingdom for some amazing circuits. Obviously, we have the kind of Grand Prix level track like Silverstone, which is a world-class facility. It's massive place, but actually, you know, more circuits like Goodwood here at Oulton Park, Cadwell Park, are very, very special. Brands Hatch is an amazing place as well, and to drive around. And my dear local circuit, Knockhill, here in Scotland, is the only kind of proper permanent racetrack in Scotland, and kind of flies the flag for Scottish motor racing. And I'm very, very privileged to be involved commentating there at the track. And it's I can't tell you how much of a buzz it is when you go through the when you drive to the circuit and you go through the gates and you cross the track to the commentary box. It's very special, and yeah, we're very lucky in this country that we've got some really good racetracks.
Yeah, because here in Denmark it's quite limited what there is and what tracks there are. Very short, and it kind of only has a club layout, if you will, and they have to spend most of their opening hours on what basically is drivers' courses. So it's quite a different culture from what we have here, and something that I'm certainly a little bit envious of, to be honest. Anyway, it's still Koen Mulder with a 33.67 at the top of the standings, with about 0.3 of a second down to the gentleman we were watching not a long time ago, Simon van Dijk. And then Pete Plastow is there in third place. So question is here, Peter, that 2 minutes of qualifying left. Do you think we're going to see any changes of the running order at the top?
Well, we've seen Jack Werrell's managed to put in a quick time, 1:34.521 in the big Ford, and look who he's got a tow from. I'm pretty sure that is Timmer in front of him, in the Audi with the pink wheels. So he's and he's flashing the lights, is Jack. I wonder why that is. So what can he do? I think he's maybe got a bit more pace left in this car. Of course, Jack was the winner at Daytona, of course, wasn't he?
Yes, he was indeed, and a very strong drive from Mr. Werrell on that occasion. I think he might be feeling slightly held up by Elroy Timmer in this situation. As Elroy Timmer tries to let him through, if he catches that, it's going to be great work. He does, and he keeps it in, but I think he's going to lose a little bit of outright pace in that situation. It was very sketchy indeed.
Wow, that was that was a close one. Jack did well to keep that one out the barriers, but I don't think he was quite expecting Timmer to pull over there, so I doubt he will go quicker. Yeah, 1:34.9. That could have been, it could have been maybe into the 33s. That could have been a front row time, actually. So let's see what Jack can do here. Why don't we ride on board in this amazing big piece of Detroit muscle? Yeah, look at that, old school. Of course, this Ford GT was this iteration of it. It's kind of the middle Ford GT, if you like. We had the one in the 60s. This was the one from the early 2000s, and Jack could get another lap scrubbed here. Oh, a little bit of understeer there, but he manages it well. Back on the power, opening up this Detroit beast. But yeah, this was actually built into a GT1 car and a GT3 car in its time, or GT2 as well, actually, I think. The Mark VDS team in Belgium, owned by Mark van der Straten, who's of the Stella Artois dynasty, campaigned one of these amazing race cars, and actually used a V8 engine block from the F-150 pickup truck at the time.
So that's a pretty interesting. Not the first American sports car we've seen with a truck engine, if you will. Remember the humongous 8-liter V10. I think it even went to be a bit bigger in the latter years, but it was certainly huge from the get-go. And you might be knowing already what I'm referencing to, of course, the Dutch Viper. As we've got the checkered flag out here for qualifying. Koen Mulder still at the top of things. Here's Jack Whirl. He's not gonna improve, I think. He is not. He's gonna be very close to, but just about missing it here. Pedro Cladera seems to improve. He does. He goes into 15th place. Here comes Sebastian Scandolera, and I think he's had a relatively unlucky qualifying session, Peter. He was up there in practice as well. Videla, one of our fresh Argentines, goes 14th with a 35 dead. And we've still got cars running here, I think, if I'm not completely mistaken. Here's Nils Cornelis.
Yep, bit of damage there on Nils' BMW. He still much prettier than the current efforts of BMW's styling department at the front, particularly.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, not enough.
Yeah, that's... is that Van der Broek? Timothy Van der Broek. It is indeed who pits in. Drew Williams has parked the car, and here's Kamal Hashimi. I think he will have completed his final flying lap. But what do you say, Peter? He still looks to be attacking to me. He set a purple sector there, so he might just be in.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's put in a really fast time there in the, like you say, in the 5th timed sector. Let's get him over the line and see what Kamal Hashimi can do. The Audi R8 V10. Over the line he goes. 134.9. And that, well, that was what the pole time he was looking for. But no, he doesn't move. A 135.5 for Kamal.
So with that, we're about ready to get the race running here at Oulton Park. It's going to be round 9 of the SimracerCoin GT3, the Sunday GT3 World League. Very much an important point to note there as well. One of the tracks where we still get a full warm-up lap, Peter, so we're gonna have plenty of time as the cars hop in and onto the grid, as everyone gets ready. And I think we're in for a hectic couple of opening laps, given the general layout of the track, Peter. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I wondered, we haven't teed him up. We could have had Jack Werrell on for a warm-up lap interview, possibly. But we'll have to watch, see how he gets on from 8th spot. But yes, the patience in those opening laps is going to be vitally important. Now, it looks actually that we're preparing for a standing start, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that would be strange. I'd be very surprised by that in the end. Check in race chat.
So we wait. There's not a pace car, so we must be taking a standing start here at Oulton Park. This is going to be great fun to watch. Normally these GT3 machines, you'll see them on a rolling start, but a standing start, you're going to hear the revs rising and see who can launch the best off the line.
So that's thinking, is that down to an error in the setup? Well, people will have to make a hurry for it now to get on track, because we've got just about 15 seconds remaining. It's the first standing start we've had this season, and I'm just wondering if it's just a plain old error in setting up the session. I know still looks to me like there's a few cars missing there, or is it just me down towards... is it just Jack Werrell not there? I think it is actually just Jack Werrell. It is, however, a standing start, Peter. Interesting as it is, and they're off here from the line indeed. And the field flies down. Someone's already into the pits there. Oh, my word.
Great start from Simon Van Dijk and Koen Mulder. Oh, hip check there from Timmer. Oh, that is... Oh, Dutchman on Dutchman there, and Koen Mulder goes, no you don't, puts the Ferrari right up the inside, but Van Dijk is off like a bullet in the BMW Z4. We're riding on the nose cam of Pete Plastow now in 4th place, and whoosh, there goes the Eric Verlaine.
Oh my word, that was closer than close. Pete Plastow there with indeed Eric Verlaine and the Cat Ferrari there in 5th place. That's, I think it's Nils Teesters. There's Nils Teesters ahead, and that's the fresh joiner Mariano Lasarte of Argentina, very much up there as well. What a start with that here. That's Elvis. Oh, that's Koen Mulder in the barrier. So Cole Mulder, our championship leader, is trying to get going again. He'll have to do safety. This is a disaster for him. And this might be what... Oh, there's contact further up as well. And we're going to have to see what happened. Pete Plastow's involved. Valdir Suarez has had problems. And it's a heck of trouble of lap 1 action here at Oulton Park. And...
Wow.
Oh!
Hit. Huge hit. Now, is that Van Dijk's BMW that he made contact with?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes, it was. Van Dijk's out. Oh my word. What a dramatic start. Koen Mulder hitting problems. Van Dijk, a runaway leader, Hasse, and makes a mistake. I don't know what happened to him. Like he lost it coming out of the Britain chicane. What a bizarre start to this motor race.
Yeah, indeed. Here's the incident. Oh, there is Van Dijk, indeed. And he's been off already here. So let's see Koen Mulder. Oh, they make contact, Mulder and Van Dijk, indeed, as they come out the chicane. And that's the reason for all this calamity. Jack's had a bit of an issue at home, I'm afraid. And he's heading to attend to a sad
personal matter.
In a personal matter, thank you.
Yes, let's put it that way. Yeah, Elroy Timler, well, he's probably thinking, oh, I should maybe go and buy some lottery tickets because it has just fallen into his lap here. But Eric Verley in the Mercedes, that front-engined beast from Afterbach, and they head down towards the Hislop chicane. And, well, it's what can Verley do about it? Can he reel in Timmer? It's going to be hard work, but we'll see.
But there's a very good point to the fact that for Eric Verley here, this is a very good position to be in. I'm just gonna scour down the running order to see if I can find out just where. I'm sorry, Valdir Suarez Jr. seems to be out. So is Simon Van Dijk, I think. Just trying to see. There's Koen Mulder. He's in 10th place at the moment. So if he can keep on fighting there, he'll probably still pick up a bit of points. He'll try to salvage whatever is salvageable from this situation as one of the BMWs goes slowly just ahead. And
Koen Mulder's definitely got the opportunity to actually recover. He got away with that one relatively lightly, considering what happened to Valdir Suarez Jr., his championship rival. Wow. So let's see. Oh, is he going to have a look here? He thought about it there. A dive into Shell Oils is a pretty risky maneuver, but he's got the run out of Shell Oils, now heading towards the Britain chicane, and he gets it done. So Koen Mulder goes up to 8th spot. Brilliant move from the Dutchman in the number 3 Ferrari.
Yeah, indeed. I think I'm just going to see. We've had a problem for Pete Plastow. This is the original incident at the chicane. Oh, a big tap from the Cat Ferrari, and he gets sent around. He'll try to rejoin, but it's a tricky one indeed. He gets onto the old track, if you will. Takes out a few cones, and there he goes. So that's one part of it. I think it's not the only problem there's been though for Pete Plastow. Let's see if we can make ourselves a little bit wiser maybe here, Peter. Oh, that seems to be, yeah,
that's fast. That's downhill left-hander, so he's got a bit of problem with one of the McLarens here. Taps the back of the McLaren, then gets a help from the Mercedes, the anime Mercedes. Now that is, in that car is, no, I've forgotten, is Martin de Jong, I think, is it? Or is it Stephen Arell? I cannot remember.
It's neither of those two, I can tell you that much. It's a good question, though. I actually don't know who it is. It's going to be one of the, I think it's Pedro Marimon Cladera of Holy Cow Racing. Oh, one of the Ferraris there, getting twitchy indeed here. Elroy Timmer is down into 6th place, by the way, here. So he's been fighting, and something's happened to Elroy as well. And all under the radar here. We've had a lot of incidents. I'm trying just to to make sense of it.
Let's try and see what happened to Elroy Timmer, because he's had a big problem and he's going slow. He's going really slow. There's something not right at all. And he gets a bit of a nudge there from the other mule. Oh dear, be careful. Right. So at this stage, he's coming around some lap traffic.
And he goes for a big old journey onto the grass and collects the end tire barrier there. And that's poor luck indeed. Oh, and that's the BMW of Simon van Dijk having spun yet again. And now Eric Verley now leading Savino Belilo. He's come from absolutely out of nowhere, Peter. And he's now sitting in second place. We're on lap 5 of this race. We've hardly even raced for 7 minutes here at Oulton Park. And the race has been thrown on its head already. And mind you, we've got 40 minutes of racing to go here, or not to go, we've got 40 minutes of racing to do, which means we've still got more than 30 minutes, more than half an hour of racing, and oh my word, I'm gonna stand by what I said earlier. Look at this here, Sebastian Scandolera for Virtua Racing, he started 28th, Peter, and he's up into 8th place.
Yep, it's just about keeping your nose clean here at Oulton Park. It's such a rewarding circuit to drive. And oh my word, that's a big one. The Neil Taster's there having a bit of an issue in his BMW, and wow. Oh, his broads, that's not where you want to be. Oh dear, oh dear. Somehow avoids more contact. But yes, it's such a rewarding circuit to drive. It's so much fun to drive that it's a little bit of a bad influence circuit, Hasse, actually, where it's always encouraging you to try and go faster, whether you're capable of it or not, because it's just so satisfying to get right. So when you do just make the tiniest of mistake, all of a sudden you're in big trouble. But that's what makes Oulton Park so special.
Yeah, indeed. Here's Gaston Borri. He's having a bit of a fight with Chris Pio in the other Ford GT, and Chris Pio in 12th place at the moment, even with a damaged car, a quite damaged car actually. Is missing an entire piece of its front bonnet. And up ahead, it's Cladera and the Audi of Lee Tucker, I think. Yes, it is. Oh, Lee Tucker with a poor exit. That might open the door for the Spaniard here in the opening section of the track. And a bit of a flash there. I think he might feel that he was cut off ever so slightly. The running order, very, very interestingly, still all playing into the hands of our race leader in the Mercedes, Eric Verley. Mind you, he's 20 points down on Koen Mulder. And where is Koen Mulder actually? Koen Mulder is all the way down in 17th place now. So I think, I think that Koen Mulder might have just had another bit of a problem here, and I'm just looking through to find it. I think I might have gotten a bit wiser here as he was in 8th place. Oh, he certainly is any longer as he gets sent into the gravel. Koen Mulder. And yet again, Peter, we're talking about the driver who's been perhaps the best in this entire series at finding that perfect balance between caution and speed. He's been navigating so much trouble over the course of the season, and successfully as well. And all of a sudden, all the bad luck seems to be befalling him and Elroy Timmer as well. Look at this. He's right behind. He's had a bit of a problem too.
Wow, that's again at Cascades. He's going to find the wall if he's not careful. Stop. Oh dear, where is he going? Wait. Oh my god. Oh, he's
he's looking at a thing. I'm afraid he's looking at a
penalty.
That's a massive penalty coming in for him. This could be a disqualification in the end for Elroy Timmer.
I've never seen that before.
Oh, a passing move there up the inside. That's gutsy indeed. That's from Timothy Hildebroek. And certainly we're going to have another look at that.
Oh, a Mercedes, right, I think was not, no, it wasn't Aurel, it's the next one down. I think it was Scandalera or Cladera into the wall. No, Matthew Maddox, so he's a lap down, of course. Lovely livery, really nice. AMG throwback livery, and straight into the wall. Scratch that, nice paintwork, that's not so good. Speaking of nice liveries, I like this one. This is very nice on the Z4, that kind of red and black. Almost like Team Advan colours. It's very cool.
Yeah, indeed. Good looking. I was just trying to figure out if I can find that overtake from before, but I think it was perhaps on a lap car, which would probably explain why I cannot. Oh, as there's a descent looking there, that's Guillermo Javier Perna, and he's in 7th place, fighting off his countryman. There's a stricken Ferrari there getting repairs in the pit lane. Eric Verley, by the way, is still leading. Oh, and he's on the limit of things as well. He's in front of Savino Melillo, who, by the way, has the quite close company there of Stephen Orell. They're all going for it, and separated by just about a second and a half here. It seems to be really coming together at the front end of things as well. Cohen Mulder up into 13th place. He's not going to give up. He's going to keep on fighting with a stricken Ferrari as well. And I don't think that aero damage is going to be hampering him too much. It might cost him, of course, a bit of time in the straights, and with a bit of a downforce lacking as well. But it seems to me he's doing sort of okay at the moment. At the time and moment at least. But he is a fair bit of way down. He's half a minute off of the leader, so it's going to be a tough fight to get back here as we go back to the fight for top 10 places indeed. Here's Scandolera. He's gone past on Lasarte on this very lap, I think, or someone else has lost a few positions here, as they've all been climbing up the order since last time they crossed the line, and that's evident on the positioning number that you can see there on the windscreen. The Ferrari's gonna have a look at the inside here. Oh, and Scandolera sees it in time and gives the space to Mariano Lasarte, which is probably for the better of things in the long run.
I noticed there was a car there with a blown engine in pit lane. Just saw some black smoke coming out from pit lane. Oh, it's one of the McLarens. Oh dear, very smoky McLaren in pit lane. It's Cohen Mulder. Well, he has had the most eventful day, but he's up to 13th spot now, so who knows where he could finish. We've still got, we're not even halfway yet. We've still got 27 minutes of racing. Cohen Mulder, still plenty of opportunity ahead of him. So what happens to Guillermo Javier Perna? Oh, missed the wall. Oh, T-bone stake. Oh,
that's a
big
impact to the front of the car, and that's gonna be a tow indeed for him. That's gonna assist Cohen Mulder in picking up more points. And you have to wonder, because it's a 20-point deficit for Eric Verley, but he's looking set to... Oh, and someone's been up there as well. The question is...
Oh, Audi, I think.
Yeah, it's an Audi indeed. There he is. That's Alejandro Videla in the Cat Audi, who just clips the grass. Oh, what an impact.
Oh, dead
my.
stop. Oh, that's not good.
That looks terrible. Had that been in real life, I would have been very concerned indeed. But it could be that with around there at 10th place, it could be okay for Cohen Mulder, but it's going to be close. I actually don't recall just how the standings and the points are given out further down the order, but I do remember it's 30 points for a win, 27 for second place, and 25 for third. So if Eric Verley wins, Cohen Mulder will have to pick up 10 points in order to keep the championship lead coming into the final round in a few weeks' time. Going to be racing at Barcelona at the Circuit de Catalunya, which is it's a nice track indeed, but it's one of those tracks where you feel like the older, if you will, historical layout, which still exists at Catalunya. I think it's called the MotoGP layout there as well, because it seems to be what it's used for these days. It's a lot nicer than the modern Formula One layout.
The chicanes there are yeah, they're not ideal, but unfortunately the that section of the circuit in Catalunya, the final section, has had to have a bit of work done to it, because unfortunately we lost Louis Salom in the Moto 2 qualifying session a couple of years ago, and when an accident in the barrier there, and a lot of changes were made. But yep, the Barcelona circuit, it's a really good technical challenge. It's maybe not quite as shall we say, adrenaline pumping as Oulton Park, but a very good technical challenge of race driving, as we're looking at Eric for riding on the back bumper of Eric Verlet, looking back at Melillo in the Ferrari, and this is, whoa, a mistake there from Eric Verlet. And look at Melillo, here he goes in the Ferrari 488 around the outside, which will give him the inside for Shell Oils, but he backs out of it. But Eric's locked it. Oh, that's huge. Oh, hang on, don't come into, tell you what, Eric Verlet did very, very well to make sure that he didn't make contact with the wall or with one of his fellow competitors. So let's see. And interesting, it's like Melillo knew that he's thinking, oh, no way are you making that corner. And he goes for the cutback, and there he goes. But, oh, there's a Christmas card picture.
Wild stuff indeed, as Eric Verlet, who's in a position to pick up crucial championship points for him to really bring the fight to Koen Mulder in the final round there. He had the scare of his life, having a big Code Brown moment indeed. He's still running though. Third place, it's no disaster. He's now chasing down Stephen Orrell. Those three at the front seem to be... Oh, and here's Scandalera. He's had a problem. And we're going to have a look back just to see what happened. I think he might just have a spin. Oh, no, that's contact. Oh, and he's sent airborne by the Cat Ferrari of... that's the car of Lasarte. So Scandalera will have to pit in, I'm afraid, for that there, as we're nearing the halfway marker of this race. We're 18 minutes into it out of, as you can see now, 40 minutes to race. And Koen Mulder has picked up a little more positions. He's up into 11th. And the more he gains now, the better it's going to look for him. Verlet's lost another position here. This time around to Nils Cornelis. He's had another off-track moment, I think, here. And it seems... Oh, it's almost a carbon copy, Peter, but it's on the other side of the track, and the Ferrari behind having to take evasive action there on the outside. Very, very sketchy stuff, and I think Eric Verlet at the moment, he's a shaken man, Peter. He seemed cool, calm, and collected early days, but one mistake can throw you off, and if you get in that zone of nervousness, and as I said earlier, something I know very well myself from driving, it can be so hard to regain the rhythm. Eric Verlet struggling at the moment.
Yeah, often the mistakes breed mistakes often. And Eric Verlet has just got to get his head down now and just try and hit his marks, go back into the groove if he can. And I tell you what, Koen Mulder's not out of the reckoning either. He's able to be making progress despite having a little bit of damage to that Ferrari. But this has been a race where no one is immune from a mistake, and pretty much every driver on the circuit right now has made some sort of error. So it's far from done, as we see Melillo putting in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:34.654. That is rapid for the Ferrari man.
Sabino Melillo really making his mark on this race here. It could be a first win of the season for the Italian. I'm just going to check if that stands up to a fact check. Sabino Melillo is currently 5th in the standings, and indeed his best result was at the last round, where he finished 3rd. And as we're halfway through, we see quite a number of cars pitting in. Chris Pio coming in here, Koen Mulder as well into the pits. Maybe just trying to take that pit stop as early as possible, just to see if there's going to be a possible to pick up a few repairs while they're fueling the car anyways. And by the way, Nils Cornelis, he's risen from 13th place to 3rd now running. Looking still like he has a clean car with all the carnage that's unfolded in front of him. That's it's no mean feat. It's well done from Nils Cornelis, the Dutchman. He's been steady on in his BMW for the entirety of the season. He's kept with the BMW. We've seen a fair few drivers switch their cars around. Oh, and another BMW That's Timothy Vanderbroek finds the outside grass. He's caught up to Eric Verley now, and you can just see Verley starting to lose ground. And for just how long can he keep it running? Or if he can find back his form and find the pace that put him in a good position on the grid anyways, I think he can recover quite well. But let's see what happens here. On to a new lap. Lap 14 it is. And we've had an interesting 21 minutes of racing here so far, and I think it's going to be an interesting 18, 19 minutes of racing that leads the remainder, as well as Timothy Vanderbroek has a look up here. The fast left-hander seems to be a surprisingly popular spot to go for the overtake, because you'd expect it to be one of the trickiest spots.
Certainly not a very high percentage place to look. I mean, you might see some drivers try and hang on the outside of the quarter panel of the car in front and then dive up the inside into Shell Oils, but it's quite a risky maneuver, and you need to make sure that the car in front of you has seen you and won't shut the door either. So it's a tricky one. As we look at Jose Godinho, got the attention of Drew Williams here in the 55 Audi. And you just hear that symphony of those V10 5.2 litre normally aspirated engines in the back of that Audi. Same engine you'll find in the Lamborghini Huracan, as we see now. Speaking of nice engines, oh, listen to this. Chris Pio, what's happened to him in the Holy Cow Racing Ford GT? Oh, just a little bit of an off track there. Nothing to worry about, really. But Jose Godinho keeping Williams at bay for now.
Yeah, and Verley seems to have stabilized the gap as well, down to Timothy Vanderbroek, which is all good news for him. Here's the battle we were watching before. That's for 14th place between Drew Williams and Jose Godinho, the Portuguese driver, up ahead. So I think at the moment it's all gonna be working the way of Koen Mulder. He's gained a position. Mind you, he took the pit stop early. He'll be able to run to the finish line, I think, with without any kind of problems from now on. He really should. And could he be standing just to gain a little extra here? All the cars ahead that are in any way fighting at the moment, well, he's going to be gaining by just lapping without any kind of problems at the moment. He's trying to catch up to Nils Teesters in the 101 Next Level Racing BMW. The very green, very gold liveries of Next Level Racing is certainly an eye-catching one, and one that you could spot from very far away indeed. And up ahead here is Lee Tucker. Lee Tucker's done well in the... this is actually one of my favorite liveries throughout this series, just because Konica Minolta and their history for sponsoring race cars goes back to the Group C days of Toyota's Group C program as well, and some very iconic liveries designed under their sponsorship as well during the times. And it's a nice, simple, effective black and blue here. I really like that. Oh, and in behind, I think that's Robert van den Heuvel, and someone's been off there, Peter. That's...
Kamal Hashimi has had a problem. What happened coming through to Cascade, not Cascades, my apologies, through to Druids, and just spins around. No such luck for Kamal Hashimi.
No such luck indeed. Timothy Vanderbroek is now exiting the pit lane, I'm sorry, as someone finds the grass there. That was EJ Fuellner in his Ferrari. Savino Melillo ahead by 5.6 seconds to Nils Cornelius. Verley's back up into third place. Then it's Lasarte, Cladera, and Lee Tucker. Then Stephen Orrell, Timothy Vanderbroek, Nils Teesters, and Koen Mulder. But all the cars ahead of Stephen Orrell at the moment have yet to pit. So we'll just have to see how it works out with the remainder of the pit stop round.
We'll see how it goes, and of course any of the drivers coming in for a pit stop, they can maybe get a little bit of damage repaired wherever possible. But Eric Verley is not out of this right now. He's showing up as third place right now. His little LED scoreboard on the windshield says fourth, but that should adjust as we see our leader is in pit lane now. Savino Melillo comes in the pit lane, ready to fill up with fuel. Just a quick splash required just to get to the end of the race as Eric Verlet goes through.
Oh, yeah, and Savino Melillo has lost a bucket load of time, it seems to me, at least here, and Stephen Arl has had a problem. All the meanwhile, he was chasing positions here. He's already been in. And Stephen Arl, oh, you know what? There is Scarian going off like that at that point. Very much is so as well. He manages to keep it in the under control, but now we have a new situation, a very different situation, and all of a sudden Eric Verlet is back on top of things here. That's absolutely impressive. We've got around 13 and a half minutes left. And Verlet leading Pedro Marimon Cladera now, who has yet to pit. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, because what's caught me out here seems to be that Eric Verlet has yet to pit as well, which is, of course, why he's in the lead at such a massive advantage. And certainly that gap of 20 seconds. Oh, and what's going on here? That's Melillo. Melillo going across the chicane. And all this happening, it's going to be making it more and more difficult just to try and call out what's actually going to happen at the end of this pit round when Eric Verlet comes into the pits, and we're going to see a true running order. The top two drivers, Verlet and Cladera at the moment, has yet to have their pit stops, and we're coming into the final 10 minutes of racing, and here we go, Eric Verlet into the pits.
So let's see how long Eric Verlet comes in here for. If he can just get a quick splash and dash. You shouldn't need much fuel, really, for just over 12 minutes of racing for the man in the Mercedes. But where is Melillo? Here he is. Oh, so Melillo's going to take the lead in pretty convincing fashion right now. And also Cladera is in, you can see there, the anime liveried Mercedes at the back, the number 7 car. He's going to drop back too. So Melillo reinstated in the lead, and Stephen Orell, well, he's going to really rue that mistake at Cascades one lap ago.
Yeah, very much so. It could have been a much better situation for him, but at the same time, Savino Melillo had a bit of an off-track incident as well, and it's all a little tough to call, I think, as I mentioned before, coming into the final 10 minutes of racing, with everyone having been in for their pit stops now. We can safely say Savino Melillo leads Stephen Orell, Eric Verlet, Timothy van der Broek, and Marino Lasarte in 5th place. And then it's Nils Konis, Pedro Cladera, Nils Tiesters, and Koen Mulder now up into 9th, and Lee Tucker completing the top 10 with Chris Pio 11th in the Ford GT.
Yep, there's the one and only Ford out there with the demise of Jack Werrell, who had to rocket off to deal with a other matter. So, Koen Mulder, what can he do? He's now right on the back of Niels Tiesters. As we see, now interestingly, Eric Verlet has now got the problem of Broek here, of Timothy van der Broek in the 611 BMW. This will be an interesting battle. Front engine car on front engine car. BMW Z4 V8, 4.4 litre. The Mercedes also V8, but 6.2 litres. So they need to be balanced out, but they're quite different machines in their handling. But the BMW may be a little bit more nimble, but the Mercedes has its benefits as well as they come down towards Cascades. Well, this has been the most unpredictable motor race I think I've ever seen.
It's been absolutely impossible to call in any way. And we had ideas, and Elroy Timmer and Valdez Suarez and, you know, Koen Mulder with a very good qualifying session as well, and it's all just unraveled for the top drivers here, except for Eric Verlet. And it's nice to see the drivers who's been up there and about all season now get the chance to shine. But it's been a chaotic race indeed. It's been an eventful one, and it's been very, very, very entertaining, I think, so far. And of course, if you like what we do here at Sim Racers World, and if you think we deserve it, do leave us a like. And if you want to see more, you can always hit the subscribe button, use the bell notification icon to stay notified of when we go live. And with that said, We're into the final 10 minutes of racing here. Koen Mulder is looking at the rear end of that BMW, and he's really just trying to find a way past. Seems to be difficult for him. This is two stricken machines, so I don't think there's too much of an advantage or a disadvantage to any of the two. And it's Nils Teesters ahead, who we've seen have the pace, but not the luck. And up ahead, it's Verley, I think, who just touched the grass there ever so slightly. And, oh, Stephen Orrell from second place. Peter, he's had a problem.
Oh, not Cascades again. Oh, it is. He gets onto the grass. Oh, just about hangs onto it, just registering as an off track there. But, oh, Stephen Orrell really pushing. He really wants this win.
Yeah, and Martin de Jong, who was or de Jong, I should know. A pseudo Dutch speaker should know better, and I really do. I'm sorry, Martin. It's de Jong, of course, and I'll get that right in future occasions. We had a bit of an off track there. He had a first lap incident, and that's never a good way to start things. It's, especially when you feel like it really could have been something. And it takes so little to turning into nothing here. And look at Eric Verley really defending with all he's got at the moment in front of this man, Timothy van der Broek, in the 611 Stage 1 Racing BMW Set 4. A very nice looking matte red and black livery. I have to say it's standing up as one of the best ones I've seen so far this series. And he only managed to keep it a little bit more clean. I think he'd find those extra few kilometers an hour that he's looking for here on Eric Verley, because you can see Verley just seeming to have a little bit of an advantage in terms of straight line speed, and that always leaves you in a tricky position as the driver behind him. If it's only in the corners, it's so hard to really line up the moves here. Verley slides ever so slightly on the exit, and Van der Broek is close. He's diving left, he's diving right, he's looking. He's trying to find the space to throw up the assault, if you will, on Timothy van der Broek, or on Eric Verley, I'm sorry, as Verley wisely closes the door into the bank tight right-hander there. Sorry for not remembering the names at Oulton Park. I'll pick up. It'll happen over time and not overnight. Here is the first of two chicanes. Oh, and that's Van der Broek who's gone off down there. Oh, and he's off. He is off. Peter, what's going on?
Here we are through the Britain chicane. Oh, just catches the wall on the inside of the curb there. And that spins Timothy van der Broek around. He was battling there for the podium spots with Eric Verley. And Eric Verley now, in that 83 Mercedes, is going to be just breathing a large sigh of relief.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed he is. Nils Teester is now on the tail of Pedro Marimon Cladera in the Anime Mercedes. And we have got Koen Mulder, who's lost a bit of time there as well. So interestingly, that Koen Mulder seems to be ever so slightly off the pace. Well, it makes sense with the amount of incidents he's been through. It's some big old hits the Ferrari's taken. And I think probably the biggest incidents he's had this season, as I think we just had a very nice overtake there from Nils Teesters. Indeed, on Cladera, as he looks up the inside brakes very late as well. And Cladera doesn't fight it too hard. He knows that Nils Teesters seemingly having the pace advantage on him. And he tries just to get on with it and salvage the best position he can. Teesters now up into 7th place. That's a car of Kamal Hashemi. There's getting lap. That might open the door for Cladera in this situation, though I'm not quite sure. He'll be looking behind because Koen Mulder's just trying to lap up every position he can get and put every little point that he can pick up into the bank. Oh, that's Cladera! That's Cladera off! And he's made major contact with that outside wall. And that's from 8th position at this time. Oh, just holds the brake a little too hard. I think Peter as he comes in, swings it in. I know this is a car that people are talking about. It really needs to be trail braked to get the rear turning in, and he seems to be just a little too much on the brakes while turning into the chicane.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, he just lost it a little bit on the weight transfer there. And unfortunate, it's a tricky chicane there, the Britain chicane. You actually have to really kind of go in slow to get a fast exit out. So if you overdrive going in, you can really risk an error. But Savino Melillo done a great job. But Stephen Orell is not letting this one go. He's a couple of seconds back, but just would take the tiniest error from Melillo, and Stephen Orell in the Darius Scary EthicalSuperstores.com Mercedes would be right on top of him. And look at this. Melillo has got big problems with traffic, so this is going to give Orell a perfect opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, because the last lap he was actually losing a little bit. Oh, look at the traffic there, and you see the gap instantly is dropping, and that cost almost a second in itself there for Savino Melillo. Actually, Orell had a bit of a moment here coming on to, I think this looks like turn 1, it very much is, but it's just a small track extension, so nothing to really worry about for Steven in that situation. He'll of course be annoyed with picking up the 1X, but that's also as far as that goes here. 2.5 minutes until the end of the race, which means that we're gonna do two laps more. Yeah, 2 laps exactly, and that's gonna be it. So a good situation for Savino Melillo. He's 2.5 seconds up on Stephen Orell. He has that buffer of the Audi of that's, I think, Drew Williams. It very much is in between, and that's going to be a helping hand at the moment.
Yeah, that's Melillo had his problems behind Drew Williams. Now, will Drew Williams show any more courtesy to Orell? It's going to be a big ask now for Stephen Orell to go and win this race, but you know he's going to have a go. This is the penultimate round of the season, don't forget. So the wins they get more and more important as time goes on, but so far Orell not being held up, but not making an impression on Melillo, who's now escaped a little bit further up the road. Now, will Drew Williams back out of it and allow Orell through, given he's a lap down? He hasn't done so already. So actually Drew Williams is actually running a pretty similar pace, so that's gonna that makes it easy.
So Drew Williams, he did look a little slidey coming into that corner. I thought it was just the rotation of the Audi R8. Well, I should probably think about that an extra time. That must have been very, very scary for Stephen Orell, and I don't think that's going to help him one single bit at all. The gap's up to 2.8 seconds. It does not look like he's going to be reaching him. Oh, look at this. Now there's a Dutch battle. Or it's not a Dutch battle, it's a Flemish Dutch battle, because Niels Teesters now has Koen Mulder for company. And could Koen Mulder grab 7th place here? That would be a very, very good recovery drive. Mind you, he was all the way down in 17th place after 2 relatively heavy incidents. That's the words I was looking for, and resulting in damage. Luckily not driver injury, just damage to the car. Anyways, he's on the tail of Niels Teesters for one final lap here, and maybe, just maybe, the opportunity will arise. They are currently the closest 2 cars on track. So, if anywhere, the battle, the action, the heat is going to be coming from right out of here. And Niels Teesters has lost quite a bit of time here. Oh, as Koen Mulder is very much braking at the latest of late. He managed just to stop the car in time. And Teesters seems to have something on his hands here, Peter.
Yeah, I think there might have actually been a little bit of light contact there, but a tiny mistake there from Koen Mulder coming through the Britain chicanes has just given Teesters that little bit of breathing space as they come down into his laps. But here's your winner.
Savino Melillo for Holy Cow Racing indeed picks up his first win of the season here at Oulton Park. And what a win it is. What a race it's been. Stephen Orell makes it a 1-2 for the team that has the most cars on the grid indeed. And Eric Verley picks up 25 championship points with third place here today. A very good drive. And he's very much now in with a very good shot at the overall title. Come 2 weeks at Barcelona. We'll follow that with interest indeed. Mariano Lasarte gets fourth on his debut. Timothy van der Broek fifth. Cornelis there in sixth place, and then Nils Teesters finishing right ahead of Koen Mulder, who didn't get the shot after that small mistake in the second chicane on the final lap. He gets 8th, so still points for him, and important points in the end. They are. Here is Chris Pio crossing the line. He's going to be 11th. Oh, just out the top 10. The Ford GT with the lovely growl indeed. And Peter, we've been treated to a hefty race here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a real thriller, actually, hasn't it? It's just don't know what was going to happen next. But I think a deserving winner in Melillo, from what I can see here, he set the fastest lap of the race as well. So the full gentleman set the race win and the fastest lap, doing it in style.
Yeah, indeed. That's how it should be. So just on your screen, race results indeed. Savino Melillo and Steven Orrell, both of Holy Cow Racing, and Eric Verley completing the podium for Next Level Racing the Netherlands. Mariano Lasarte for Virtua Racing, new team, a new driver, a very good result in his first race here. Timothy van der Broek, Nils Cornelis, Nils Teesters, Koen Mulder, Lee Tucker, and Pedro Marimon Cladera. That rounds off the top 10. And then Chris Pio, Trickerici, Drew Williams, Dirk Reski, and Timo Paya in 15th. Jose Godinho 16th, and Matthew Maddox and Alejandro Videla 18th overall. And moving down to Glastonbury, Pete Plastow 20th. Unlucky Pete indeed. Would have been a great pleasure to see him up there fighting for top spots once again. Guillermo Javier is there in 21st, and that is not his entire name, I'm quite sure. If I just have a look down. Never mind that. EJ Fuellner 22nd, 23rd is Luc Schneider. Kamal Hashemi 24th, 25th is Sebastian Scandalera, and 26th Matt de Jong, Rob the Lobster. We've hardly even given him any camp time today. I'm so sorry, Robert. But the 27th place, bad luck for him again today here. Elroy Timmer, 28th, a shocker for him. And then Cody Steek, Simon van Dijk, who also had poor luck indeed. Stefan van der Velde, Jacob Gibson, and Jack Werrell at the very bottom of affairs. And after a hefty race, Peter, I'm quite interested about our interviews here today. I'm just going to see if we have the drivers in already. And the drivers know exactly what to do here, and they know exactly where to be. And I'm going to leave you, Peter, with Eric Verley.
Eric, welcome to the Sim Racers World commentary box. Tell us about your race out there today.
That was quite a race with lots of incidents, and luckily I could pass every bit of it. I was behind Simon and Elroy the Lumberjack, Timmer, who were in a fight with Koen Mulder, and suddenly I could pass them, and they were all involved in incidents. So I don't know what happened exactly, but I could stay in front, and I couldn't hold my first position, but I'm happy with the result, and I think it's good for the championship.
It certainly seemed so. Yeah, you did a great job, and you'll be pleased to know, Eric, when you go back to watch the broadcast, we had a commentated onboard lap during practice, where I have to say, you thankfully on the recorded lap you were going around pretty well. Do you enjoy it around here at Oulton Park?
It's quite a challenging track. Unfortunately, there aren't that many spots to overtake, but it's really challenging, and you have to be careful, because when you hit the grass, you will spin definitely. So it's on the edge, yes.
It certainly is as well. And Eric, before we let you go and enjoy your result, who would you like to shout out to here on Sim Racers World TV?
I think Robert, who is all part of we organize all of this, and I think we are really enjoying a nice championship together. and hopefully we will have a follow-up next year.
We certainly hope so. Well, Eric, well done on a great result today on the podium, and we'll see you next time at Barcelona.
Thank you very much.
So that was Peter MacKay with Eric Perlet, and I am going to have a chat now with the race winner. Here's a quick word with Savino Melillo. Savino, welcome to the booth, and what a drive, what a race, and congratulations on your first win of the series.
Thank you. I'm I'm a bit speechless because I screamed so much when I passed the start-finish line. I have no voice. But it feels good. It feels great. Especially the first few laps were just completely crazy. I saw everyone spinning and getting out of the track, and I just hold the nerves and had a little bit of luck, of course, and just could pass through. There was one moment where I passed in between two cars. I don't know if you got that on the stream, but this felt really crazy.
I'm afraid we missed that moment, Savino. I'm so sorry. I was but there was. Let's just say that it's safe to say that there was a lot of action happening tonight. We did our best to find and capture what we could, but I think there's hours worth of brilliant footage that we missed to see here tonight. But a really good race. You also set the fastest lap, so a perfect day out for you on track tonight.
I didn't know that I set the fastest lap. Okay, cool. I was still going slower than the pace I set in practice, especially in qualifying. I just didn't find pace, and with all the traffic. So I was a little bit afraid that it would be a bad night. But if you tell me that I have the fastest lap and the win, so okay, it's cool. It feels great.
And coming into the final round, a really good portion of confidence to be picked up from this round, and a good position for you to be in the overall championships now, really knocking on the doorstep of the top three. Are you going to be thinking of the overall championships for any next seasons to come?
For next seasons to come, sure. That's my goal. I want to be in the first positions, plural, so next season, and because I'm really starting to get the feel of this Ferrari GT3 and iRacing and everything. The next race will be a bit more difficult for me because I don't like Barcelona. I think it's Barcelona if I'm not mistaken, and I don't like that track, so I'm not expecting a lot, but you never know. I will practice, and then we'll see.
Well, goodwill practicing, Savino, it is indeed Barcelona, and a pleasure having you here in the booth. Congratulations on the win, and may you win a lot.
Thank you, guys.
May you win a lot in the future as well, and I hope to see you in the booth for another interview in 2 weeks' time. Before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks or a shout out to while we got you here in the booth?
Mm-hmm. Yes, today I want to say a big thank you to my friend Kevin. He watched the whole race on my Twitch stream, and he was there the whole time. And I wished me luck, and it worked. So thanks to him, and of course to Robert for organizing everything, and to you guys for giving you a lot of action and a video that I can rewatch now for my win. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us as well for the interview, Savino. Congrats on a great result, a good win, and can't wait to see you on track as well in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, Hasse. Thank you, Peter. Bye-bye. Good night.
So that's going to be the conclusion of our interviews for tonight. What a race! What a night of racing yet again here from the SimracerCoin Sunday GT3 World League. It's been the gift that keeps on giving. I feel like saying it's been absolutely amazing, and both Peter MacKay and myself, Hasse Rømer, is going to sign off now because our voices need a little bit of rest as well on top of all this action. But if you like what you've seen here, do leave us a like. If you want to see more, subscribe to Sim Racers World for more great sim racing live broadcast content. And with that said, well, we will see you, hopefully, when we have the final round of this series, of the first season of this series, in 2 weeks' time. from Barcelona, and we've got plenty of good stuff, including 24 hours of the circuit of the Americas coming up this very weekend, Peter. It's going to be grand as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Of course, we've got on Tuesday, we've got the Sim Racers World TCR series, which got off to a fantastic start with the first 2 rounds over at Snetterton, and it's going to be very, very good. We're off the road Atlanta next as well, which is going to be great fun. And then also we have the Porsche Club of Great Britain on Wednesday, so lots coming up here on Sim Racers World TV.
Well, would you just listen to Peter, who has everything in check, and he even remembers our schedule. That's absolutely beautiful. So do tune in with us on another given day, and until then, Hasse Rømer and Peter MacKay says thank you for joining in with us tonight, and until next time, take care, have fun, bye-bye.